Good afternoon, good early evening. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless, and I'm back with another video. Peace and blessings, everybody. Hope everybody enjoying their Monday morning, well, Monday evening, early evening. But yeah, man, let's dive straight off into it. Since it's a hot topic right about now, and as the title says, my thoughts on the Bad Bunny and TPUSA Super Bowl halftime events or shows or concerts. Man, as you know, the country is a country that is divided. And I think that this was a missed opportunity for unification on all sides, right? So, few things that I take away from this, and I spoke to Bless Girl. I mean, she has a slightly different uh, opinion on this, and I'll let her voice her opinion. But for me, you know, I watch both halftime shows, not entirely, but enough to get a understanding of it. I think I see a majority of Bad Bunnies because I was curious. I didn't know any of his music. I'm not familiar with him or his career, but uh, I will say I watched this performance, and overall, I thought it was very well put together. You know, um, I don't speak Spanish, but that's not a problem for me. I'm around, reggaeton and Latin music all the time, and I don't understand the words, but I like the vibe. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't really bother me that for me, that I didn't understand the words. I like, the beat. I like I like reggaeton. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing that I'm probably gonna turn on myself, but if it's on, I'll listen at it. You know what I'm saying? Got a nice little catchy beat to it. I could vibe out. I mean, if you could listen to, certain music, like I like jazz, it ain't no words at all. You know what I'm saying? So I could listen to an artist that speaks a different language than I do and appreciate the art form. Maybe because I'm an artist myself, I listen for other elements in the songs. You know what I'm saying? But there were a few things that I did not like about his performance. To me, we already know that Bad Bunny has been very vocal about his dislike for the president and Ice Out, so he's been politicized. And we know Jay-Z is the one that, you know, is over selecting who's performing for the Super Bowl, right? And for me, the best thing is leave the politics. See, the Super Bowl is one thing that one day that all Americans could come together, set the politics aside, and just enjoy the game. I talk politics all the time, and I don't want to deal with politics at a sporting arrangement, right? So before I get to the parts I don't like, let me talk about briefly, because yeah, Bad Bunny, the good things I like. The choreography was very good. I liked it, how he put his show together. It was a lot of different elements to it, and it really celebrated and it highlighted the heritage from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, I don't know what a lot of people don't understand. Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he's a United States citizen. He just, speaks Spanish because he's from PR. And, you know, to me, it's no problem that he's doing that. But his performance overall was very entertaining. He had a lot of dancers. Um, and, a lot of people say that the dancers were a little too raunchy for the Super Bowl because, you know, children are watching. And, to that argument, you got you know, Beyonce and other artists that were kind of risque, to say the least, that performed too. So we got to hold equal smoke with that, as far as the dancers. And that's not one of my bigger issues, but it is a slight issue for me. I wish they would all kind of like classy it up a little, be more classy with the Super Bowl as far as the raunchiness of the dancing. Like, you can still celebrate your culture, but just kind of, present it in a little bit more classy form, So, because we do have small children that are watching, elderly people that are watching, and we don't want to come off a certain way to either demographic. Just perform your music and keep it, professional. Which he did for most of our majority of the performance was very, very, entertaining. He's a talented artist that's just my opinion. Now with the TPUSA, they did that's Turning Point USA. That's Charlie Kirk's organization. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. His organization threw an alternate halftime show where they had Kid Rock and some, other traditional sounding, what you would traditionally have at a Super Bowl, performance. So they offered a alternate option. I think like 25 million people tuned in. I checked them out, and that show was pretty cool. Some of the acts I felt was a little boring, but other acts was live. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, hey, to me, it was a missed opportunity, because y'all might not like who performing at the Super Bowl, and that's cool. But to me, you kind of drawing more division by doing that. Now, Blessed Girl, she disagrees with that. She thinks like people should have an option to choose if they want to listen to this or listen to that. Me, I would have just said, hey, he performing at the Super Bowl. If I don't want to see it, I'm just going to click off for the moment. Or, I'm going to just look at it and see if I might like it. You never know. But to create a whole nother platform and, now it basically look like all the American whites and all of that are over here, and all the Latino Americans are over here. It just looked like a missed opportunity to combine and unify, which is already a divided nation right now, right? So, but on the flip side, what they did do, they kept it very classy. Their performances was clean. It was, they had some talented artists up there. And, I think if they could have found a way to combine both artists, like if the Super Bowl, they knew what they were doing when they got Bad Bunny. Given the current political temperature in America right now, they knew, okay, this is gonna get them to talking, and see the NFL, they don't care, they all about money. What they think gonna, cash them out. So they went with Bad Bunny, and these are the things that I did not like. Any type of, and I'm not homophobic or anything like that, but you got two dudes dancing on each other. They said it went by for a split second. I missed it when I first seen it, and I'm happy I did. But you got two dudes sitting up there grinding on each other. That's one thing I did not like. Don't promote any type of over sexuality, especially that by young people are, tuning in. That's not cool for anybody, not just Bad Bunny. And another thing I did not like, which was a political shot to the president and half the country, is at the end of his performance, he had all, God bless America, and then he had all these other nations that are in the continent of North America and South America, flying their flags at the end of his performance. He's going to say, he's trying to show unity amongst Latin America. But I saw that as a political shot at the United States. NFL is a national sports event. It's national. It's not international. So to fly foreign flags at the Super Bowl is disrespectful. It's like a slap in the face to the country. Point blank, period. Now, people can have their disagreements about that, but at the end of the day, man, that, I don't have nothing against anybody of another nation, but they don't fly the United States flags at their sporting events. And then the president, of course, responded basically saying, oh, that was trash and this, that, and the third. Because you wanted a response, bro. Let's be real. You knew that you were going to garner a response with with throwing a political shot like that. So those were the two things that I did not like about Bad Bunny performance. Had nothing to do with him speaking Spanish or singing in Spanish. Although I wish maybe he could have switched it up. Maybe the NFL could have reached out to a Kid Rock or somebody like that to kind of like give it balance. You know what I'm saying? So, missed opportunity. And it just shows how much the country is divided right now. Sad. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have nothing bad to say about his performance other than those two things, which I thought, those are big issues for me because the level of patriotism for this country right now is at an all-time low. And like I said, we had a heightened political point in this country, and we need to really keep that in mind. We don't need no political points to be proven at sporting events. And if they were able to come together and make one big Super Bowl halftime show with all inclusion, where's the inclusion at in these two events? You just got one side of the country on this side, one side of the country on this side. I'm standing in the middle. I'm not picking the side in this. I think that all parties dropped the ball. And for me, I think it would have been wise for TPUSA and Donald Trump to just sat this one out. I would have just, if I was the president, I would have told him, don't even respond to that. You don't have to respond to everything. You know what I'm saying? Some people are going to say, well, shoot, we fighting for the spirit of America to remain the tradition, the traditional Super Bowl, the way we do our tradition in America. And I get that. I get that. They want to have a traditional America. They don't want to lose the identity of what America has been for the past 400 years. And it was saying that times are changing. And a lot of people don't like the change. They like America the way it is. You know what I'm saying? And you got another side where this is what we coming with all these other nations. And this was gonna be the United States. You know what I'm saying? You just watch. That's how a lot of people took it. And they saying, well, you gotta fight or you're gonna lose your nation. And that's what I don't like. I don't like the polarization of these two parties right now. It used to be a time we just go to the Super Bowl. If somebody do something politically or make a political statement, it didn't get this much outrage. And, him speaking Spanish, for me, and I understand there's some people that feel like, well, you could have switched it up. For me, him singing his whole set in Spanish, I don't mind it at all. You had other artists that performed at the Super Bowl that sung Spanish, that sung in different, languages, and there wasn't no problem. You know what I'm saying? So that's not the issue. The issue is leave the politics out of it, man. Especially when we at a boiling point in this country. And this president, he ain't gonna let nothing slide. Sometimes, I would tell Trump, you got to pick your battles wisely. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's not really a big deal. We live and we learn. But hey, to some people, it is a big deal when you're talking about them losing that their country losing its identity in their eyes. But hey, tell me what you think. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. We love y'all. And until next time, we should see you soon. Peace and blessings.